Good morning, everyone. Big day. A lot of numbers. Probably a lot of whipsaws. Let's take a look. All right. Little blip up there. What time was that? 8:30. ADP report. And the report said, it said added 113,000 workers to their payrolls in October, slightly below market expectations of 150. So they added, but a little less. So I guess the market popped up. Every little thing that supports a slowdown, the market likes it. But how much are they really going to like it? There's so many other things that are variables. It's just a reaction and not a big deal. So what do the charts say? Futures. We've got a little head and shoulders pattern here, right? Kind of like maybe even, I don't know if I'd call it, maybe, if anyone has an opinion, kind of a cup and handle kind of thing. There's more news coming out. These are on support. Yes, the news is the big variable, but maybe we could get a pop up here into that area, 4260 on the futures. Let's put that there and see where that lines up. That would be a pretty big move. Yeah, that would be a huge move toward that level. And to trigger that today at 10 o'clock, there is on 9:45, there's global manufacturing PMI final, I guess whatever the revision might be. ISM at 10 o'clock, JOLTS at 10 o'clock, ISM manufacturing employment at 10 o'clock, construction spending month over month, ISM new orders, ISM manufacturing, JOLTS quit. Who the hell quit their job out there? A lot of stuff happening. So things could whip around. Keep that in mind. And, just look at this, shot up. Now it's coming in, as it tried to continue with a little continuation pattern. So, um, you know, you get patterns. Some have higher probabilities than others. And this, as a continuation pattern, wasn't the greatest, but it certainly could have worked if buyers were, in a little frenzy, and it didn't. So, short-term trader, get in, get the hell out, reassess and see what's happening. Higher time frame, running in place. Not much happening. It's been some running in place. Let's continue with S&P. And you can see the spiders there, same stuff. Well, we got to drag these down. All right, they're coming down. And look at the 20 getting tight with the 200, the red bar. And so the takeaway from that, right? We call moving averages visual aids. And one of the visual aid takeaway here is that as much as this, big move, little attempt to go higher, not a big move, from a longer term perspective to a shorter term perspective, things are getting tighter. So this, there was a big move up. I'll extend that 200 there a little further back. Am I doing that? There was a big move up and it was way far from the 200. This is where the internals got it bearish. And then we got this, interest rates started going up and things coming down. And, right now, I could see, just technically, this could continue to bounce higher into this resistance area before it would roll over again, of course, depending on the news. So, the start here, the upside, keep in mind 10 o'clock. I mean, it could propel it higher. We'll just have to see. Just know, the news is coming, and those are pretty substantial reports that are going to happen at 10 o'clock that are market movers. Could be pretty fast and furious. All right. So where are we at? We are basically unchanged. And you can see my cursor there on the daily chart where it is on the 5-minute chart, unchanged. And so SPX, and definitely want to be away. So based on possible moves, this is far enough. And it would have to get through the 200. And there's resistance there. So you have enough lines of defense at this strike. And, in the first few minutes, we'll see which way they go. But, at 10 o'clock, just based on average moves, and this is unchanged, theoretically, it shouldn't hit either strike. And yesterday, it didn't hit either strike, right? So the strikes that we choose, of course, there are others with much fatter premium, but historically, it's very rare that either strikes get hit. Sometimes one has a higher probability than the other just based on trend and so on and what's going on. But just on a day-to-day basis, it's rare that either strike ever gets hit. And that's fantastic because it's the whole idea of zero DTE. Just don't go there. Dan, you gotta find that slide again. You had to use it. I miss that lady. All right. Yeah, don't go there, girlfriend. But everybody has to see that slide to really appreciate it. All right. NASDAQ, same thing. It's just running in place, not doing anything here. Minor resistance, just overhead. Holding the 200. I'm hoping this thing goes down and the other things go down, and potential here for what will go down more than others is this will have a higher probability to go down more than, say, the transports or the Russell, because it's not near a support area. Right now, it's just jiggling around here, whipping around. Dow is down a little bit. This had the biggest turnaround bar. And we need to look at the continuous contract to really, see where the support is. It's down here. So remember, all of these ETFs and markets had two nasty red down days. And if you remember some of the comments that I made, or one of the comments I made last week when we had the beginnings of an up morning, I said, look, you know what, even though prices came back from the gap down, it doesn't really mean much because it hasn't even come into the prior bar's range yet. I said, what we need to see to start thinking some kind of a decent low being in place is a strong retracement and close into a prior bar. That's how it begins. And sometimes it's one bar into the next bar, what we call a bullish 180. And sometimes it happens in a more complicated way, but bar by bar analysis tells us, hey, this went down and it went up. And we jokingly say in MT Live, which is today at 12 o'clock, call it what you want. The pattern says it's going up. Whether it's 2 bars or 4 bars, it went down and it went up. And that's a retracement that suggests it's going up. And so, well, that's a 2 bar. It says it's going up. And then the next step, well, where's resistance? Well, resistance is right here. And so it's stalled. So it stalled there yesterday. Today, it's just wiggling around a little bit. And this news could drive it up to the 20, or it could just drive it right back down again, and that, of course, would be bearish. And it is in a downtrend. And news is going to move this market. Russell, and using the continuous contract so we can see everything to the left, and it was a new closing low. It's down there on support, and this let's assume the markets take a nosedive on the news today and tomorrow. Well, this isn't going to go down as much as tech is going to go down, because this is right on support and it's already gone from the top of the range to the bottom of the range. Pretty much common sense. The transports, top of the range to the bottom of the range. Now, this really doesn't have any potent kind of a reversal here. Look at this. Look, this was trying to turn around over here, and maybe it could have. It was in a downtrend. We do give the benefit of the doubt to the trend, but there's no big bars here. It went down big because it collapsed last week, and you see the size of the weekly bar down there in the lower left. Now, this kind of a pattern is ideal for a shallow retracement, doesn't get very far, and then comes back down and takes out this low and rips right back up again. That's one of the things that we will be looking for and hopefully get either the latter part of this week or next week, where the transports come down here. It doesn't have to take out the low, but we call that a little bonus. When it takes out the low, it clears the stops and then reverses back up again. So that's something else to be looking for. And interest rates, they're up a little bit. They've just been hanging here. We were talking about this in the green room yesterday, discussion. Kind of like these lower highs and even lows. And look at what happened when it gapped down. It came right back up again. And you can see it's just whipping around on the news also. So this is in an uptrend. And you say, well, what's going to drive this market back down? Besides the potential for news, just technically, if this, and I'm going to set an alert on this, I have to do it on my other systems, that, set an alert there, because if it takes out this high, you can see where this is. It's got these pivots here, but after this amount of consolidation and this gap down reversal, if it can get through this pivot, the likelihood of getting through these pivots increase dramatically. So when we look at sideways price action, and some of it is bearish as this is, one of the concepts that we discuss is, has any of that been tested already? So this bar kind of pushed into it a little bit. Have any lows been taken out and then, in this case, buyer stepped up again? Yes. So taking out lows, think about what that means. People are buying down here. Demand was increasing. It takes out stops. That has an effect of removing overhead supply. So if it can take this out, and what I'm explaining to you is creating a belief system. We can call it a method, a trading strategy, but in reality, it's a belief system. Thought process. And that's what I call it in the courses. As we put together concepts, it's a thought process. So with that thought process, if TBT, well, this is in case, TBT or the 10-year here, should push above that pivot high, and I look at these pivot highs, I believe, for reasons explained, it's going to go through that. And if the 10-year is going through 5%, equities are going to go down. That's what's been happening. Now, other intermarket analysis is the dollar. And the dollar, these bearish bars, it continues to act bullishly. And we know from 2022, and even from what happened in this year, when the 10-year is going up and the dollar's going up, equities go down. And the dollar is pushing up to make a new high. So you could watch the 10-year. You can watch the TBT ETF, all right, which is whipping around just like the 10-year. Set an alert on TBT in the same way. And if TBT breaks above here and the dollar is still up, odds are equities are going to be breaking down through some support. And if you want to look at the volatility index intraday, well, that should be going up as well. And it's down near support here. So again, technically, the VIX being down here would make sense just if you look at this as support and resistance, that it could pop up from here. But it's interesting that, with the jiggles that happened last week, I shouldn't call them jiggles. Some of them were kind of nasty to the downside, those moves, that the volatility index didn't break out above these highs. And historically, that suggests complacency. You know, there's so much hype, and we've been talking about it too. The end of year rally, October low, November, blah blah blah, and so many are looking for that. That it's just sometimes the market works that way. That it maybe it's got to drop in a way that just scares the living what out of everybody, and it's like I'm not going near that, and it's like yeah, well, we're going to have to at the appropriate time. And that's what we're going to be looking for. And hopefully it happens because that's going to set up the greatest probability. If the markets go up from here, should they pop from here, right? They're short-term extended. They should pop from here. Odds are they're just going to get knocked back down again. So what we really want is to see them really get extended down into some support area. And we'll see how that plays out. There's a lot of bets at 4,100, so that will act as support in the S&Ps. We'll just have to see how it plays out. Right? That's all we could do. Crude oil, got to keep an eye on that. I'm wondering if this is going to be a breakdown failure, but right now it continues to correct. If that starts going up and TBT is going up and the dollar's going up, it just adds a little bit more fuel to the fire of equities going lower. And Bitcoin's up here a little bit, but kind of extended. So maybe it'll keep going, but right near a pivot high like that. Same thing when I explained about the transports breaking a low and flipping up. This is broke out. It's strong, but I just want to point out when you have a pullback that shallow, if this takes out the high, there's the possibility that traders, having profits here, getting over enthusiastic, and some getting on board here with such a shallow pullback, any sign of weakness will create some selling. But we'll see, if it takes out this high and then what happens there. So that's about it for me. Let's see how the day plays out with all this news. It should be interesting and fun. And all yours, Dan.
Good morning. Futures popping right here as you're talking. Nice little recovery off the pre-market lows. Got a lot of earnings to look at here. A lot of disasters going on. But look at spiders, Qs popping right here. I told Greg pre-market when we gapped down, I said it's not bad. It's not a bad gap. 50%. The fact that it recovered, it's a bullish bias at the open, as Greg said, subject these numbers, 10 o'clock, and then of course 2 o'clock. So it's more of a day trading environment right here. Of the Dow, the biggest Dow winners right now, Boeing, we did a put spread yesterday, a nice little bottoming pattern with a red bar ignored, breakdown failure. Microsoft up a little bit. The news said they're going to start selling their little co-pilot thing. Thomas, McDonald's, over yesterday's high. Yes, I like it. I would say after 3 p.m., or I take that back. Well, I don't know. I mean, Fed kind of throws things off. If it weren't Fed, I would say yes. Buy it after 3 p.m. over yesterday's high. We had done 2 other leftovers that we also like. Look at IWM, yesterday's high. And we had Triple M. Different pattern, but little inverse head and shoulder bottoming pattern. I have an alarm on that. So those are 2 more ideas. Our uranium is actually my only alarm going off today. So that top pre-market, we're long this in the ETF, and we're also short 41 naked puts. And our advisory letter, Alex gave me a couple of earnings here. I'm driven. Nice breakout of a bottoming pattern. Let's watch that on the pullback. BIP, it's a Climo with a 180 reversal, opening up a little bit. That looks good. That might go to 20 MA. Look at these earnings. There's a number of disasters here. I mean, big ones. That, my contrarianness is they're so big. I'm looking to sell puts on them 30-minute high. AMD, I didn't do a single earnings trade last night. I was contemplating selling the 85 nakeds on this. That would have worked great. Lumina, nothing. Deleting you. Lithium, same. A mix, pretty big gap down, 31.50. That's 10% lower. Climb on the weekly. Let's see what that does. Caesar's up. There was also some reports on casino stuff over in Macau. We were thinking of doing a short strangle on this, like an out of the money 180, out of the money 105, I think. That would have worked out great. Fizzler, this sucker's been beat up badly. Look at EMPH. Is still a dog. Look at SEDG, still a dog. Fizzler's the best in the sector. Solar. Oki, no interest. Fresh. I guess delete these. EQR, I don't see any prints. Mortgage, Northeast. Maybe, here's another big ugly one, 45. Wow, that's big. Look at that. Look at the weeklies right here. Man. So I got a bunch of these on my other computer I'll be watching. Hey, Manas, remember the sticker I told you to put on your monitor? About you got to change your drop down. ELNC opening flat. I like this over these tails. I'm gonna set an alarm at 12:36. It's a buy setup with a bullish multi-bar turn. Thomas, Horizon. Yep, we were talking about today's Wednesday. We were talking about that on Monday as being bullish price action after that gap up. Where am I? AC, absolute disaster of the morning. It just shocks me that these companies that have been in business for many years, how they can be so wrong in 1 quarter. 1 quarter is 3 months. And you're what's 100 divided by 250? You're gapping down that percent. Crazy. I mean, almost like there's embezzling going on or something. That's so bad. But we'll, it's in my excessive gap down list. This is a, look at this monthly. This thing looks horrible. No interest. Unum. That's a bearish gap breakdown, even though it's down a lot. Now, see, this would have been a pattern that would have interested me to sell the 45 puts. But there was not enough premium, and a lot of these didn't have weeklies either. I see one print down here, but I don't trust it. Pico, if we get a bull 1, 2, 3 setup, I would like that for tomorrow. I can't Voya here, potential bottoming. I don't see any prints. Sky, nothing. Here's a gap breakout, 40-60. Here, Alex, there's another bull pro gap. GRBK. Put that on the list. I'm running out of windows here. Thumbnails. I got so many I want to watch here today. Sun, the pattern, Pam. I don't see a gap, but over this red bar's high. Might go to the 20 MA. Witter, nothing. MTH. I don't see any prints, but potential bottoming pattern. Let's set an alarm at 114.50. This is a housing stock, lighter volume than most. All right, these were morning earnings. CVS 65. That's an ugly gap. No pattern. GSK, ugly gap. It's an ADR. I don't like ADRs. Humana 509 gapping. It's an ugly gap. Now this could be a 30-minute low. See, it's gapping right here to these prior lows, but it has a big old void down here. So if it is unable to bounce and it just goes sideways until 10 a.m., wait for the number, short 30-minute low. And call spread, of course. Estee Lauder is on my whackage list. Look at that, gapping down $20. Nasty. APO is a bullish gap, but that's a power down move, no interest. TT, I was looking to sell puts yesterday. It's an excessive gap though, unfortunately. Had this open relatively flat or up a little bit, that's a beautiful void to trade into with a multi-bar turn. SGen, no pattern, topping pattern. KHC, just whipping around, 30-minute high, possible put spread. TEL, I don't see any gaps. Yum. I already have Yum C on my computer. One's just a foreign. That's an ugly gap. DuPont, weekly. Still has some room to fall. Sherman Osmus remind me. Alex, your GIS up alarm I just got. Little buy setup here. That's a beautiful buy setup from a wide range igniting from a bottoming pattern. I get filled on. One of my GT, the good till cancel closing of short puts just got filled at the open. And see, that's why I leave a lot of GTC orders out there for profits. All right, so just looks pretty darn good for a swing. Let's watch somebody watch that for me. 5-minute high-ish. IBM alarm. Triple M. Triple M would be Swago beautiful 30-minute high. Manaz, is that a word? Swago? I just made it up. But that's a nice 30-minute high trade, you all. All right, I need more thumbnails here, even though I got 6 screens. So somebody watch Triple M for me, please. All right, some of these other nasty gap down slab I was watching. Wow, that thing's rallied $10 already from this pre-market bar. Wow, there's some bottom fishers in slab. Mitch is nasty. McGraw is going to be one very sad day for him if they go out of business. So I hope that doesn't happen. Whiskey. So Alex, look here at this. This thing was at $35 pre-market. And then it rallied $10 off the high. So that's what I meant. It's an incredible reversal. Our EXTR